Hey YouTube, this is the Art of Prepping. I have a top 25 for you. This is pretty exciting. I've been looking forward to this all day. So this is an overview list of core prepper essentials. And they're not going to be in any particular order or ranking of the most or least, important. That would just almost be too difficult to do, but because everybody's situation is different, people's needs are different. But these are just going to be 25 items that I think would probably be definitely within the top 50, but just to narrow it down, I got to the top 25. And just to give you a quick short little thought about how I got to this originally was going to be a top 10 list, and then I just couldn't hardly get 10 items, I mean, we know that like Dave Canterbury's 10 C's of Survival and those things, those are great, but when you're talking about preparation in general, you'd want more than just a knife and a canteen or a cook set or a wool blanket or a tarp. There's quite a bit to it, and in reality, though, there's really a lot more than 25, as we know, of things that really do help you prepare. In fact, I think there's probably well over 100 items that are pretty essential and pretty much would definitely dramatically give you an increased chance of survival over not having them. But that may be something we can talk about in the future. But the sun's getting ready to set in a few hours, and so this will probably be the last video of the day. Some days I do just 1 or 2 videos, and some days I do 5 or 6 or more. So it just depends on what I'm doing, if I'm real busy or not. But okay, so getting to the point, so this video isn't crazy long. The top 25 essentials here. Now, this is, of course, my opinion, and feel free to throw in some things that I might have missed. And just remember that I don't live in the Arctic regions. I don't live on the equator. And so, a temperate region is where I live. So I think most Americans are in that type of region, or at least the larger population centers. So with that in mind, this is just kind of my priorities. It could be just a little different, but not so much different in other areas. But so here we go. Instead of saying number 1, number 2, number 3, I'll just kind of just run them off. And if you need to pause the video to maybe jot things down, or if you have things that you want to comment that you think I left out, feel free to just message me, and we'll go from there. So bushcraft survival knife, handsaw, axe, ferrocerium rod, stainless steel cook set, a stainless steel canteen, emergency crank radio, a water filter, comprehensive first aid and trauma kit, a file, cordage. It could be a mix or assorted types of sizes of parachute cord or bank line, duct tape, bandanas, sail needle or a large stainless steel sewing needle, wool blankets, backpack, nails, firearm, and at the very minimum, a .22 long rifle, type of rifle. So I think that would be the minimum. Obviously, more the better. Maybe a shotgun, maybe a bolt action rifle of a certain caliber for maybe something that that you hunt in your area. That's up to you. Steel traps, assorted seeds that grow in your area, a lantern, a headlamp, a tarp or tent, or you can have both. Emergency food supply and an emergency water supply. Of course, that varies on how long you plan on surviving and how long you want to prep for. But those are my top 25. I know I went kind of fast, but instead of showing you a large pile of gear and trying to have one represented in the pile, sometimes it's just better to look at trees. So that's what I'm doing. It's just simpler, and I enjoy just a few comments if you don't mind, about what your top items are. You don't have to list 25 of your own, but maybe just a few that you really do think that stand out. Obviously, we know we need to have basic gear like a bushcraft knife and containers and things, but maybe some of the outliners, that we don't always think about. Those little sneaky pieces of gear that are so awesome that sometimes we just we forget to either investigate or look into it, or we just forget that it's out there. And I think that's what the YouTube community really is awesome in a lot of ways, because we remind each other of oh, Okay, yeah, that particular piece of gear does exist, and that solves that problem for me, and that piece doesn't. So, and as again, thanks a lot for your support, and I'll talk to you real soon.